Welcome to How to Become a Production SQL Database Administrator. My name is Raphael. In the previous couple of videos, we looked at how to restore if we had a full database backup and how to restore a database if we had a full database backup along with transactional log backups. Now we're going to take a look at how to restore a database if we have a third type of a full database backup, and that is the differential backup. And now remember, a differential backup records all the changes since the last full backup. And another thing to note about differential backups when you use them is that it's accumulative, which means that if you have multiple differentials, for example, 1, 2, 3, and 4 differential backups, then the fourth differential backup will have all the changes from the previous 3 differential backups. Therefore, we need to monitor the size of that backup. So let's begin. As we've noted, I'm going to use the same kind of a process of creating the database and using this as an example. So actually, I'm going to just quickly highlight this entire thing since we've repeated many times and create that database. And there's the product. So now the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take a full database backup, because as we noted, we must have a full database backup before we can take any transactional log backups or before we can take any differential backups. So let's just call this backup, like we have database dot back. And let's go OK. And now we have a full database backup. And now we can take differential backups and we can take transactional log backups. So let's look at inside of that backup. And there it is. So now I'm going to start emulating activity and taking either transactional log backups or differential log backups. You'll see me using the GUI to illustrate that, but remember, I'm not going to be doing it, and certainly you're not going to be doing it either. We're going to have what's called a job running this, but for illustrative purposes, I'm going to be actually doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is insert data. I'm going to look at the data. Now we've got 7. I'm going to take a transactional log backup first, since we've already taken, and again, this is going to be relatively quick since we've done this many times, and it's going to go to the same directory. So now if we look at the inside, you'll notice we have 2. One is the full, one is the transactional log. And now I'm going to insert more data in it, row 8, and now I'm going to take a differential backup. So this is going to be our first differential backup. Tasks, backup. Now here obviously I'm going to select differential and go OK. So now we've taken a first differential backup. And now if we look at the inside of the .back file, you can see that. And remember, the backup type is 5. 1 is full, 2 is transactional, and 5 is differential. Also note the position, because this is going to be important when we start restoring the database. The full data backup is in 1, and then the differential right now is in 3. So I want you to look at that for a second. So now I'm going to continue inserting more data. And remember, all I'm emulating at this point is activity going on and transactional logs on a job executing transactional log backups. And if I keep looking inside the file, you'll see it's growing. So now I'm going to take another insert, and now I'm going to take a second differential backup. So here is my second differential backup. And then I'm going to look inside it just to verify that, and you'll see the second verification. And note the position 5 for the second differential, and this is important. So I'm going to keep inserting data, which is activity going on. I'm going to keep taking transactional log backups because that's part of our backing up procedures. So I'm going to insert more rows, more activity, one more transactional log. And we're almost there. And as you can see, this is quite cumbersome if a database administrator had to do this manually. But obviously, as I said, this is illustrated. This is just for illustrative purposes. We'll have jobs executing that, and I'll be certainly showing you that. So I'm going to have to do one more transactional log, and I think that will be it. and that's it. So now let's look inside that file, or backup file. And you'll notice now the backup type. So let me repeat that. We've got one for the first thing we took in the position. The first thing we took was a full database backup. The second thing we took was a transactional log backup. The third that we took was a differential, or the first differential, make a note of that. Then we took a transactional log backup. Then we took a second differential backup, followed by 3 transactional log backups. Now, when you need to restore a database using differentials, we do not need to do it in sequence as we did in transactional log backups. When you're restoring a database using differential, this is the following sequence. We will need the first full database backup. We will need the last differential backup. And the last differential backup here is position 5. That's why I want you to note that. And then followed by any transactional log backups. And in this case, position 6, position 7, position 8. So let me repeat that. When you're using differential log backups and you need to restore the database, you'll need the first full database backup, followed by the last differential, followed by any transactional log back after that. So now if I delete this database, and remember the positions, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the necessary files that we need to restore the database. Therefore, we can skip these. So now if I delete the database, close the connections, go delete, and now I'm going to restore the database, and you'll see automatically, again, let's just look at it, and there it is. And now I'm going to restore the database. Right click, restore database, device, and obviously we want to go to that path where we have our backup. And there it is. And go OK. And now you'll notice immediately that it's automatically, SQL has automatically chosen the files for us. Remember, I said it was position 1, which was the full database backup, followed by the last differential, which was position 5, and then followed by all 3 transactional logs, 6, 7, 8. And that's exactly what we need. And now if we go OK, we'll get the database restored. So that's the great convenience of using differential backups. Now, you use differential backups on very large databases. You certainly don't use them when you have small databases. Transactional log is efficient. So just take a note of that also. So now if I go here, and there it is. Now let's look inside the data. Always choose the right database, of course. And there we go. So now we have restored all the database and its content using a differential backup. So this was an example of how to use a differential backups. And the important thing to note about differential backups is that when you're restoring a differential backup and you've taken multiple differential backups, you actually only need the first full database backup, followed by the last differential backup, followed by any transactional logs that you've taken after. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I think that illustrates that point. And then the next couple of videos, I'm going to be talking about the recovery model, or the recovery mode for the transactional log. And then we'll have a couple of videos illustrating this, how to use the transactional log files. And I'll leave it there. So my name is Raphael, and this is how to become a production SQL database administrator. See you in the next video.